So this episode has a little bit of a microphone issue. We didn't know it till it was recorded, but we're still giving it to you. I think you can figure it out. Hope you enjoy it.
Welcome to Besties and Bubbles.
Welcome.
Cheers, friends.
Kimmy,
Cheers.
something's come between us.
That it has. I mean,
She's cute though.
she is cute. She is cute. So friends, we have often talked about Gen X, which is what Tracy and I represent, the X. But today we thought it'd be fun to talk about another generation. That would be Gen Z. And we have our first guest with us today. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Emily. I'm 23. I'm a Gen Z, and my reward is getting dinner after this.
Yes.
Ooh, whoa.
It's total bribery to get her to do this.
Bribery.
Totally fine.
Bribery.
Yes.
Okay.
See, we're kind of used to this, and Emily's just like, what? What do you guys do? Okay, can we define what the ages are in 2025? If you're the age between this and this, you're what?
Oh, so for Gen X, which is what we are, you are between the ages of 45 and 60. And
right in that middle.
Yes,
You and I.
yeah. And for Gen Z, you are between, well, you're 1997 to 2012 is the year ranges. So 13 to, what am I math? 28, something
28.
like that.
So M being 23, she's
Ooh, you're smack dab in the
she's
middle.
in the middle too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we kind of just asked some questions because I do think that the two generations get a lot of things wrong about each other.
I would agree, and I would say in general, right? Each generation,
Yeah.
I mean, we've heard it from our parents, grandparents,
Yeah.
right? Well, back in the day, or that's not how we did things, and I'm so glad I'm not raising kids right now, and
Right.
blah, 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 right?
Right.
So,
So true, so true. Okay, so we're going to talk about a couple things. I'm just going to be like, okay, what Gen X often gets wrong, maybe not, about Gen Z. So these are just some things that people think about Gen Z, and then you're going to
that
give us
our
your feedback.
generation,
Yeah,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
our generation thinks about you.
Okay.
There is a little bit of a thing that we think that you guys are lazy or that you just don't want to work much. You know, there's a lot of jokes about that they want to be millionaires by their 25 and, you know, stuff like that. Do you think that that is a fair assessment of your generation?
I would say it's 50-50, so I would say probably like the older end of the generation is more like your typical 9 to 5 working every day kind of stuff like that. I would say that's more how it is. I would say the younger half of the generation where I'm in the middle. So I would say like the younger half of the generation where they're just starting, they're in high school, young high school. They're just starting to like come out and like think of things that they want to do. And I feel like being an influencer is a really big thing to do right now because it's so easy to make money. There's UGC creators, there's influencers, you can be on TikTok, you can be on Instagram, Twitter, you can be Facebook. There's all these things that you can do. Even these young kids are making money just from kids shows and stuff like that. So I feel like they're not lazy, they just have a more innovative way to make money.
Okay.
That's interesting. I find that extremely interesting.
And I think they seem more and more like that. Like even I got on TikTok today, they're like, the newest TikTok trend is blah, blah. I'm like, when did this happen? You know, they're on TikTok all the time. So they're just willing to go do that TikTok trend and maybe get all the followers.
It's very easy.
You know,
a lot of people that are really big on TikTok are only a few years or if not younger than myself. There's like Alex Earl. She's a really huge person on TikTok. Millions of followers on TikTok right now.
I have no idea.
She's on Dancing with the Stars. She's partners with Val on Dancing with the Stars. But
I know who Val.
See,
but
exactly the generation.
I don't know this girl.
Like, she's a really big person. She just got famous. Like right now, it's so easy to get famous on just doing your everyday life, and that's what people like to see. And people like to see everyday content. People like to see what you do throughout the day and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's so easy to become popular or become famous on TikTok because that's just what people like to watch. If you like to watch it, it's easy for you to create it. That's what other people like to watch. So it's easy for people to get hooked on these trends.
Yeah.
Where like Alex, she talks a little bit on Dancing with the Stars about how she really just became popular just from doing like getting ready with me videos. She would just do makeup. She had a lot of acne. So a lot of people resonated with her as well with that. So she's a real person. she's like, I have a filter on, but I'll take the filter off and I'll show you exactly what my skin likes. And she has really bad acne sometimes. She's on Accutane, all this and that. So she's very real for stuff like that. And that's what people like. People like, to know that influencers aren't just like these famous people that are like untouchable. They're real people.
Sure.
And so that's this generation. It's like
they're
they're getting popular because they're actually real people instead of like the Kardashians where they've had a lot of stuff done to them and stuff like that. So it's like now it's a little bit easier for people to see that.
We'll tag both those people in our podcast and we'll see her and the Kardashians. Okay. What about, do you feel that your generation is entitled or overly sensitive? Because I think our generation does feel that way. Like, grow up. Like, we had it so much worse, or, do you feel like you guys are overly sensitive?
I don't know if I would use overly sensitive as the right word. I think sometimes there's more sensitivity drawn to the generation and like certain things and stuff like that. Like we are a lot more self-aware and open to mental health and stuff like that. I feel like that's true. That's a huge thing that like anyone in Gen X and even older generations, they don't believe that that's a thing at all. And I feel like that's a very like tunnel vision way to think about it. You're not necessarily like, not everyone is okay all the time. There's influencers, there's people, famous people. Justin Bieber, for example, came out with the whole song about that and stuff like that, where you think that just because they have this perfect life, they have all this money and all the things that they could ever want in life doesn't mean that they're happy, because you could be happy and you could feel so alone in a room full of people.
Right.
And that's where a lot of people, I feel like that, even everyday life people, not just like popular people. I feel like that's like a way to look at it. So it's not necessarily being overly sensitive. It's just being more sensitive than older generations.
Do you think you guys have it easier?
No. I would say no, because of the fact that everything is so put online nowadays. You could do one wrong thing, say one wrong thing, and it blows up on Instagram, on TikTok, and your whole life is destroyed from it.
Do you think that you don't appreciate the past?
Like,
you don't appreciate the past, like
history.
Yeah.
Like what has happened, like what the people
Bringing
or the
back
things
vinyl,
that have
film camera, 90s fashions, vintage music. Learning about older people, things like that.
I would say that's wrong, because a lot of people do really enjoy 90s and 80s, even 70s. I feel like a lot of people are bringing back those generational things. There's a lot of trends that come back in now, just like specific fashion, music. A lot of people I know listen to 90s.
I would say Gen Z is like that. I would say millennial is not like that.
I would say there's a generational gap between millennials that they didn't really care about it as much. But I would say Gen Z, since it's been quite a bit since Gen X has happened, I feel like now we're the ones to bring things back. And now it's a whole new generational thing that like Gen Z is bringing back the 90s. Gen Z is bringing back the 80s kind of stuff. So it's like, it's a whole new look at it.
Interesting. Okay, Kimmy, what you got on yours then?
Well, I just also want to make a point with I do feel that I would say kudos to the Gen Z generation in bringing mental health or brain health awareness.
Yeah.
Because when we were growing up as Gen Xers, it was very much taboo to even talk or see a therapist or anything like that. And I would say even generations before us, right?
For sure.
And I would say that your generation, Gen Z, has done a good job of making it acceptable to talk about it, and that it's not taboo, and you're okay. You're gonna be okay, and it's okay to feel this way. Yeah. Whereas I don't think our generation felt that way at all. I think as we've gotten older, we have, but definitely not in our younger years.
I agree.
So anyway, cheers to that.
Oh.
Yeah. So,
cheers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
Just because you just want to have another sip?
I mean, maybe.
Okay.
So, yeah. All right. So I have what Gen Z often gets wrong about us, Gen Xers.
And you could agree or disagree.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know this happened a couple years ago, and I don't know, Emily, if you ever said this phrase, but Gen Z, or I guess, how do you feel Gen Z views Gen X like we're boomers? Like there was this phrase called "Okay, Boomer," and I feel like my boys, who are all Gen Z, by the way, would say that to me, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me? I'm not a boomer."
Yeah, boomers are the other generation.
But yeah, it literally was that "Okay, Boomer."
Yeah.
Did you ever use
you
that
heard
phrase?
this?
I've never used it.
I've never been called
I've
a
heard of
boomer.
it. I feel like it happened so long ago that I don't even remember it happening. But I mean, I've never said that. I feel like just because I am on the older side or towards the middle of it, I feel like I say things that aren't exactly what the younger Gen Zers would say. Like they're 13, 14, they're early high school and stuff like that. They definitely use things. I feel like they have a perception that Gen Xers are much older than they actually are. And I feel like that's where it comes in. And I feel like my age, even around my age, like college, even like a little bit older post-college and then older than I am, I feel like no one would ever say that because we realize that that's actually not that much of a difference.
Oh,
Okay.
well, thank you.
She says,
Because there's really not. All right. All right. What does Gen X think about Gen Z think about Gen X when it pertains to technology? Do you think we're technology Amish?
Yeah, I would say they definitely don't know a lot. I've definitely had to help my mom a lot with stuff.
She's really good.
Did you say that
are.
you're my daughter? Some
No.
people might not even know that.
Well,
Look at us,
I was
you
gonna
know
say, if you can't tell, shockingly.
Okay, yes, I have needed her help. Or sometimes she'll just take my phone and I'm like, wait, no, show me how you did that.
Yeah, but
Because I want to learn.
You're like one of the only Gen Xers that actually is asked to learn. I feel like much more people would rather just be like, okay, just do it for me. Like just show me, or like take my phone and just do it for me. I feel like not a lot of people are. I feel like they're so like past the technology phase that they're like not really interested in learning about it, so they don't really care too much.
Yeah, okay.
But I would
We
say
do.
that you
we
guys
know people
are.
like that, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I feel like it's half and half because obviously, like you said, it goes up to 60, so it's like,
sure.
you know, most people are like, okay, whatever, I don't care. Like, this is not my generation. This is not what I grew up. I'm totally fine with not knowing anything about technology. But then there's other ones that it's like, if they're in their early 40s or mid 40s and they're like, well, yeah, obviously I want to learn. Like, they still have a lot left that they're going to want to know how to do things. So I feel like it goes hand in hand with different.
Okay.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And I would just like to say, Gen Xers, like we grew up with Atari and ColecoVision.
She doesn't know what Atari is.
I don't know what that is.
But these were like the pre-Nintendos and
What
the
is that?
Xboxes.
Atari is
It was a video game.
No, it was a gaming system.
It's a gaming system. It was like,
I know there's like, there used to be the game balls, but that was like not necessarily born. That was like younger when I was
Could
younger.
you dial a phone, a rotary phone?
do you even know what a rotary phone is?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I also grew up, I like that you remember, I always liked the older generation stuff. I had a typewriter. I begged.
She asked for a typewriter.
Begged.
Aww.
I still have one. It's in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
I begged for a typewriter. I learned how to do it on my own, the more electronical ones and like the older style ones. I learned how to use both of those, and I would use those. I would write letters to my grandpa who lived next door.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like me personally, I like doing a lot of those older generation things because I always
good.
had time with my family that was around those kind of things. So I know how to use one. I don't know if I would say that any of my friends would know how to use one or probably have ever seen one. I think personally I'd probably seen more Gen X and Boomer stuff than any of my friends combined, I would say.
Well, that's good. Okay.
So safe to say you know how to address an envelope.
Yes, easily.
Okay. Because this is very,
I know.
very true.
Oh,
a lot of Gen
I've had to help
Z.
Write a check.
Yeah.
The check, tipping, even learning how to do tips at a restaurant. That's another big one too. For quite a few years, I had to help most of my friends do it.
Yeah, it's the old 10% rule. Then just multiply
10%
it.
and
Decimal, it's
double.
easy.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah.
I learned from my parents, and my grandpa and all my grandparents, I feel like they all taught me stuff, so I knew, and I felt like I was a little bit more ahead of it. I've also been told that I'm very mature for my age. So even when I was 16 and I was working, a lot of people thought I was in my early 20s
older,
because I've always been on that more mature side and haven't acted like I was.
And that probably has a lot to do with also you being the last, the baby.
Yeah, you're the baby in your family.
She wasn't
Right.
with younger, she was always with somebody older.
Older.
Right?
Yeah.
I would
Shoot,
agree.
Kimmy.
I would agree.
Right.
Okay. Do you feel that Gen Xers are stuck in the past and that they don't want to move
No.
forward? And
No,
when I
I
say
would say
you,
that's
you know
right.
I'm speaking about
Yeah, like
your
your gen-
generation. Yeah.
No, I don't think
Okay.
so. I don't think
Okay.
I've ever heard that one.
Okay. Well, that's
Good.
good to know because we're not stuck in the past. We adapt, right? And then what do you think about Gen Xers? Do you, in regards to how they feel about social issues? Do you think that they just kind of push them along, or
do you
that
know
they
enough
have-
get involved
yeah.
in like politics or good, causes that, things like that?
Will you say that again?
Well, give her an example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like activism, standing up for certain groups' rights.
Yeah.
Do you feel that Gen Xers still
who do you-
believe in that? Like, have you seen that from Gen Xers, or do you just kind of like
I would
they're
say
done?
they don't. I would say again towards the older half. I would say maybe not as much, but also sometimes you can see that they're the ones who are very much like in it. So I would say it's unfair to say that like all of them don't believe in it, because I feel like some of them do, some of them don't,
Yeah.
and that's what I feel like Gen Z now too. They're getting a lot more involved in certain things that are
Yeah,
like just
I
going
see
on in
that too.
everyday life
Yeah.
and stuff like that. They're
Yeah.
learning how to like have a voice of their own. I feel like once you hit like college and like later high school, you learn how to have a voice of your own, not just like use your parents' voice that they gave to you. I feel like you start to learn more, and you have your own opinions that maybe you don't agree on with everyone that's around you and stuff like that. But again, you start to have like a voice of your own, so that you learn how to like stand up for yourself, but then also like stand up for what you believe in.
That's good.
Yeah, no, I like that, and you brought up a good thing about, or an interesting point about, when you grow up, it's really what's talked around your house.
Yeah.
Of course.
Right? And then when you get to that
That's what you
certain
think is
age,
normal.
then you form your own opinions and, have the facts behind it, or it's just how you feel, and, kind of go from there.
And that goes from politics to activism to like even your sports teams,
For sure.
You
For
usually
sure.
like a certain baseball team, right? Because your parents did.
Yeah.
That kind
This
of
is
thing.
very,
So,
this is also
Football
very,
team,
yeah,
all that kind of stuff,
that's
so.
true. That's
Okay.
true. So,
what about what do you think success means to your generation? Like, how do you think it's different from Gen X's version? Do you think that success? What do you think success is? And I will say that we grew up thinking success was like we'd have a house in the suburbs.
oh,
And
absolutely.
have a family and a dog.
You'd
that
have, right.
was
You had made a
success.
certain income.
Yeah.
You would, it was, yes, owning
That's
a
what I
house,
think we
having
grew up as,
kids,
because I think we
and
both grew up
family
at the same time.
vacations,
Yep.
and all these, being a provider,
Right.
right?
Yeah, I would say success, is like kind of, like you said, like making your own money and having like goals for like a family and a house and stuff like that. I just think it's a little bit different, and the age you expect to hit that by. I feel like
Okay.
now it's expected to hit it a lot younger, or to like be more like, how should I say it? Like, be more willing to do it a little bit faster. So you say you want to hit these goals and you want to be, have this certain amount of money and these goals by 30 and stuff like that. I feel like Gen Xers see it as this is just a goal in life. I feel like Gen Z puts it like, this is a goal I want to have by a certain age. I want to
Okay.
be,
More
I want to
planners,
make
yeah.
6 figures by the time I'm 25 or whatever it is, stuff like that. I feel like they have more of a plan towards it. Gen X is like, well, it'll happen and I want it to happen eventually. But I feel like Gen Z is kind of more of like, this is when I want it to happen by. This is what see it like. A lot of people, they want to work for themselves now and stuff like that. So with that, it's like being able to work for themselves. They see that as a success instead of pouring, because they could pour their all into themselves and their business as opposed to throwing 100% into somebody else's business and working for somebody else for the rest of their lives.
Right. What do you think the average of your friends, okay, of your 23-year-old, the ideal age to get married?
I think that's different.
Because our generation was a lot younger. The average was a lot younger than what it is.
Yes.
I'm saying, like, what are you hearing?
Because how old were you when you got married?
I was 21.
And I was 24.
Yeah.
That would never happen. I think it's much older now.
I know. So what do you think? Like, what
I would say probably like 27.
27.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's.
I would say 27 because I feel like now it's like back then it's like you used to say like, okay, I want to get married. And then you kind of work on your career. I feel like a lot of people are like, I don't want to get married. Especially on a male side of it too. Just hearing from like other males as well, like around me and stuff. You want to be a provider for your family, and that's how you see it. They want to be able to make sure I've heard I don't want to propose or get engaged until I feel like I can provide for my family. Right. But then I feel like it's like, okay, I'm going to keep working to provide for my family. I have 2 kids at home and now I'm maybe 25 or whatever. I feel like now it's more so like I want to hit these goals first to show to maybe the girl's parents that I can provide for that family if something does happen. Yeah. Or they get married and stuff like that. They want to have a certain amount of money. They want to have a house. They want to do all these things beforehand instead of doing it
after
the other way. Instead of doing it after.
That makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, my last question over here was, do you think Gen Z will ever embrace the traditional 9-to-5 career path? We kind of talked about it, but do you know anyone your age that's going to be like, I want to work the 9 to 5?
I think some people do. Some of my friends are like 9 to 5 kind of people. That's not something necessarily
you admit that you're not. Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that. That's not what
I would think if you're in the trades, I mean, that's typically 9 to 5 plus, overtime, but let's just be for, And
I feel like that's the only exception to people actually craving a 9 to 5 at my age, because obviously trades and it's good money. It's it's all these things around.
They're needed. Oh my gosh, absolutely.
So I feel like that is the only way people actually crave a 9 to 5 in my generation. I feel like for myself personally, I have worked so hard, and I feel like I've really worked my butt off just trying to work and prove something to someone else. And I feel like it was never fully reciprocated and stuff like that. I've been a manager for 1.5 years, and I feel like, and then I was never truly appreciated. And I feel like I went into work and I was like, why am I doing all this work and putting all this effort into someone else's business and I'm not getting enough in return? But when you do it for yourself, you're much more appreciative because you might technically work more because you're working every day. You're on your phone every day doing work, stuff like that. You might technically work more and put more hours in, but it's less on the physical of working 10 hours, 8 hours, 9 hours all day, every day. It's like, okay, maybe I worked 2 hours this day. Maybe I worked 3 hours the next day. Maybe I worked 5 hours this day, but you can kind of come up with what you want to do. And it makes it more rewarding because you see yourself and your business thrive as opposed to seeing someone else's business that's like, maybe they don't care about you as a person as much that you care about yourself. So it's like you're irreplaceable to them, but to you, you're not irreplaceable because there's only one you. Yeah.
It's interesting. Kim, you had a couple questions in there.
I did have a couple questions.
Maybe we'll cut that out. Go ahead,
Sorry.
Kim.
Well,
you're ready, Kim.
Actually, here's a good one.
Okay.
How do you feel that Gen Z likes to communicate with just everyone in general? Do you think it's like, what's your first go-to? Is it a phone call? Is it Snapchat? Is it a text? Is it like, what's the main?
I think it's usually between Snapchat or text, I would say.
Okay.
But that also, again, depends on the age group you're talking about within Gen Z. Older Gen Z, 27, 28, they're not using Snapchat like how my generation or younger would be, because they weren't, I feel like I was in the core age when Snapchat really started. Like, I was in, I want to say I was in middle school when it really started, really became popular.
Okay.
So I feel like we really grew up with all the updates and all the different changes and stuff like that. And so it was like a Snapchat streak was a big popular thing. I don't know if people younger than me still do that.
Is that
I don't know
thing?
Streak?
I mean, not intentionally. But
Is that where you like constantly like just snap, and I'm like, what are you like? This was more Ben and Owen. I was like, what are you doing?
You would send streaks
streak,
just to keep it alive.
Right.
There's people you don't even talk to anymore, and I don't have like a Snapchat streak with just people I send it to. It's people I communicate with every single day, and that's a form of way of communicating. But I like texting. I call. I feel like some of the people that I talk to don't really call, so I don't really reach out to call people. But like my parents or my grandparents or anything like that, it's always going to be a call over a text, even if they don't answer.
Zing.
But I feel like it's just, I feel like it's more so a call or even FaceTime. I feel like FaceTime is bigger.
FaceTime is so
also
fun.
popular too.
Yes.
Especially with my brothers and sisters who have kids and stuff like that. It's like I'd much rather FaceTime you and then talk to the kids and talk to you at the same time as opposed to just calling you and not being able to see like them face to face, especially for the little ones who don't understand. And they're just like hearing your voice and they're like, where are you?
Where are you?
Yeah, they're
So
looking
it's like
for the
now
FaceTime
they can see you, and that also helps with like their facial recognition of you later on if you don't see them as often.
Right. I do agree with that.
To, like,
it's wonderful.
For them to like learn and still remember who you are, as opposed to like just hearing your voice. They don't really put that voice to face when they see you.
What are the what is it? Is it beta?
For VHS?
No.
What?
No. What is it? What is the age group?
It's alpha.
Alpha,
and then beta. So kids
Yeah.
born in 2025. So this year
is beta.
is beta.
Yes,
They're
but
little
kids
betas.
Crazy.
are alpha.
Yeah.
Generation alpha.
Like our grandbabies.
The generation after you is alpha.
Yeah, Gen Alpha.
Yes.
Which I think sounds
crazy.
so much better than Gen Z, but whatever.
I mean,
I would much rather be Generation Alpha.
Your grandmother, your great grandmother, who you're named after, she was the greatest generation.
Yeah.
That was literally what they were called.
Yeah, they were the
Grandma
greatest.
Emily.
Yeah, World War II.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
Okay, Kim, you got another question in there?
All right, so if I may, maybe a final question, Emily. If you could just have one piece of advice that you could give to Gen X about understanding Gen Z a little bit better.
I would say you have to be a little bit more patient with trying to understand them. And I would say that kind of goes vice versa, is because if you're not around people who are Gen X and Gen Z every day, like between us, like it's a little bit easier for us to kind of understand each other sometimes because we're around each other all the time. But for people who maybe live with roommates and stuff like that who aren't around that generation, two different generations every single day, I feel like you can kind of get lost in your own generation, the way you believe, and then it's a little bit harder that way. So I feel like just understanding and being patient with trying and putting an effort in to understand both generations as a whole.
Well, I think that that's wonderful, and I actually think that all generations could probably take that advice.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
So,
do you think that our fashion, like I ask you sometimes, like about like the skirt, stuff like that. Do you think that what say what you want to say? Do you think that like at a certain age, like that Kim and I, who you love very dearly, should not wear certain things that we did when we were younger?
Yes.
Yes. Like what? Short skirts or like what?
I feel like it kind of depends, but I feel like it's not so you shouldn't wear it, but it's also like it's like portraying, I don't know how to word this. It's like, I don't know. I feel like it's also like when you look at it and maybe if you're not nearly as close, like we spend all the time together, we're together all the time, stuff like that. So I feel like when you're not as close, you see it as like, oh my gosh, like why would my mom like wear
like
that?
Cringe?
Yeah.
Like that's something that would make you cringe.
Okay.
I don't say cringe. I would say like ick. It's an ick.
But here's the thing.
Is cringe your word and ick is your word?
Ooh, it's
Well,
an ick.
I feel like ick
I say
is more
cringe.
of like when you're talking.
The
like
ick.
if you're
What
talking
gives
to
you
a
the
guy,
ick? Yeah.
Like that gives you an ick.
Yeah. I
But
agree
it's
with
like,
that.
It's more so, it's like, I don't really say cringe in general, but I feel like cringe is the right word.
Okay.
I would say ick is another, like, similar word to use, but that also I feel like is more so, like, in the dating world an ick. But I would say it's just like, it's also weird. Sometimes it's hard to grasp, like, that's my parent. Like, you don't want to see your parents wear certain things, even if they like to wear them out or have different
Or if they look good.
It's just like, you don't want to
even
see
if
your
they look good.
parents dressed in that, just as
Right.
like you wouldn't want to see your young daughter wearing like a short mini skirt.
Okay.
Well,
It's
one
like,
thing
it's
you'll never
weird.
see me wear is anything midriff. It's like, no.
just not her
That is
thing.
not my thing. And no, if I'm going to raise my arms, I don't need my midriff showing at all, period.
This girl never wears a bikini.
No, never.
I can see that, but
So-
that's again, that's a generational thing, I would say, because I don't think that.
I wear a bikini.
It's a me thing, but yeah.
But it's also a midriff thing, because younger, once you get to, everyone says, like, I see it's a very big thing on TikTok right now. Once you leave college, it's like a thing to like purge your college clothes, and it's like all these going out tops that are super small, and you're like,
Right.
why would I ever wear that?
Yeah. Or
So,
like the
when
big,
you're at
like the big
post-college-
oversized sweatshirts. You'll never see me in that either. Like
the post-college thing to like get rid of all your all going out tops, because you're like, why did I wear that? Like, why would I want to wear that now? Like, I mean,
'Cause I'm not going out to the bars,
24,
yeah.
You're not going out to the bars like that, dressed like that anymore.
Well, if you're not
Now
getting
it's-
married till 27, you got a couple years that you could still be going out
But
to
you
the
could
bars.
be
I
dressed,
mean,
yeah, you could still go out to the
But
bars.
you're
you
going to
don't wear
different
makeup.
bars.
Okay.
You're
You
going to
don't wear,
different
like, a
bars too.
little yeah.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. I didn't know that.
Oh, it's a huge thing right now.
Yeah.
A lot of people do it once they leave college. It's like they purge all their old
Oh.
stuff, because they're like, why did it, like,
Well, that's
they like
good
look
to
at
hear.
it, they're like, how did I ever wear this in college?
Yeah.
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 My question to you about technology is, what about, do you think that it was helpful or hurtful for you to have everything because you got a cell phone. How old were you? Do you remember when you got a cell
I was
phone?
9.
You were 9. And that's
Wow.
because you were driving, you were riding your bike to cheer practice.
Yeah,
and
because
we
I
wanted to
wasn't
be
I
able
wasn't
to-
with my parents. That was the only exception to
Yeah.
it.
So, but you pretty much could find anything you wanted by the time you got in middle school, right? On your
Yeah.
phone or, you know,
Well, with
computers, stuff like that.
smartphones, yeah.
Yes. So do you think that was helpful or hurtful?
I would say hurtful.
Hurtful.
I would say, like, if social media wasn't a huge thing right now, I would much rather have like a flip phone or a slide phone.
We
I
talked about
like
that, how
slide
that's
phones.
coming back.
I
Would
do.
yeah, I was just gonna ask
But
you,
it's too
how would
hard.
you feel if it was mandated that when you went to school, you kind of had to put your phone into a safe, let's just call it, right?
Yeah.
Something
To
secure,
not
right?
have during school. Do you think that
I
is?
would think it'd be more helpful because you're too distracted in middle school. If you technically you weren't allowed to bring a phone, like in our middle school, I
Right.
don't know how it was with everyone, but you weren't allowed to bring your phone into the building. If you did, it had to be tucked away. Like you technically, like it would be sneaking it in kind of thing. You were not allowed to have it. If it was even ringing, if a teacher saw you had one in your possession,
Even if it was in
would
your
get taken.
locker?
It would get taken. You weren't allowed to have
Yeah,
one.
but do you agree that most everyone brought their phones? Into
Oh yeah,
school?
I would say a lot of people did.
You just
Some
had to turn it
people-
off.
Some
Right,
people
right.
didn't.
Well, did you? I do remember this because I remember having to come to school to retrieve the phone and then
Yep.
pay a fee for it.
Yep, they would take
Pay
it.
a fee? Like $1?
Not like $25
To get your phone back?
Well, yes, technically it was my phone, even though it was my kid's phone, but I'm paying for the phone.
It's a whole nother podcast about my dealings with her middle school, I'll tell you that. But
Well, that was my older 2 boys.
yeah.
Oh, and I didn't have that problem, but
So it's interesting because now, do you think, like your brother and your sister that have kids, do you think that they're going to let their kids have cell
No.
phones? No. Would you? So her
not
brother and
till
sister
high
are
school.
millennials
right, yeah.
that have kids. And would you say that, no, you say...
I would say
it's-
not till high school.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
'cause,
that's better. Going through it, and you were the first really generation that went through it like that.
yeah.
You still recommend not having a cell phone?
No, because I think
until
it's
high
too
school.
premature because then you're so focused on everything else that that's all you want. Like a lot of kids who have iPads right now, they're so focused on getting a phone, getting this and getting that. So they're already so focused on the next best thing in technology that it's like you kind of lose sight. They don't want to go outside. They don't want to play. Like even when I was younger, we always like going outside and playing or doing stuff like that, not just sitting on our phone.
Right.
So even I feel like the older half of Gen Zs, they still have the childhoods where you weren't just sitting on a phone all day. 13, 14, 15, that's where they were really fully submerged in having smartphones when they were in middle school. I didn't have a smartphone until I was in high school, for sure. So I feel like I feel like I wouldn't do that because I would still want my kid to understand what it's like being a kid. And if you have a phone, you're so worried about like what your friends are doing or what everyone else is doing instead of like having your own life as a kid.
I know this is going long, but I do have one last question, if that's okay. So you graduated the year of COVID.
Oh, yes.
So you didn't have a prom.
No.
And didn't have a graduation.
Nope.
And then you started college, it had to be online with a bunch of restrictions and stuff. Do you think that that's made you guys different?
Yeah. I would say so because we were the only year, even the year after us, 2021 graduates, they still had a prom, they still had a graduation. My graduation consisted of driving in my parents' car past my high school, getting out of the car, walking across a little stage, signing something. I had a marker, had a Sharpie, and they couldn't let two students have the same marker, so they would give you the Sharpie afterwards because they weren't allowed to have two people touch the same item. So you'd walk past it, you got to take off your mask for 2 seconds so they could take a picture with your diploma, you put your mask back on, you got back in the car, and your parents drove away. So that was my graduation. The year after, they had a graduation with everyone in the building and stuff like that.
They were outside though, I think.
Yeah.
Ben's outside.
Yeah, I would say that the class of 20 and 21 really were robbed of a lot. You know, you didn't have the graduation. The 21, they didn't have a homecoming. They didn't have a football season until spring. And and there were masks and it was outside and it was 2 sessions. And it just was not a very, we all live and learn, right? Yeah. But I think that things probably could have been handled a little bit differently for you guys. But do you feel though that because that's adversity, right? And you can't change it, right? And you had to live through it. So do you think that has made it's targeted in your generation, right? It's a couple of classes, but how do you feel that that's kind of defined some things in your life that maybe you didn't think about?
I would say so because I feel like a lot of people had a difficulty going through the first year of college being like fully remote and stuff like that. So whereas other years it's like that was not a thing at all. So
no.
It was like, I feel like our year was the only year that had everything taken, as opposed to the next years, they found more loopholes and stuff like that. So I feel like the 2020 graduates were like the only people who ever fully understand what other 2020 graduates went through, as opposed to like 2021. They had some things taken, but they didn't have everything taken. So they didn't really know, like, they wouldn't be able to know exactly like what we went through kind of thing.
Right. You did so well.
Yes.
Can I ask our question?
So, okay, here's our question. First, I want to tell you, I am so proud of you.
Why?
You were so well spoken, and I appreciate you being vulnerable and doing this with us. I do. So, Kim, my question. This is, and I don't even know if this is a Gen X thing, but Emily and I differ on this ridiculously.
A lot of people do.
All the time?
All the time.
Do you want me to ask her, or do you want to ask her?
There is a table of 4. It's a square table.
Okay.
It's 4 seats.
Yes.
4 seats. You're on a date.
Yes.
Someone you like.
Okay.
Do you sit across from the table or do you sit next to them?
Oh, you sit next to them.
No.
Yeah, 100%.
Nope.
You sit next to them.
No.
Why would you not sit next to them?
No.
Emily says.
Why would you not sit next to them?
Sit across from them.
But at a table for 4? I mean, for 2, I totally understand that.
2 for 4. But there's no other people there.
There's no other people there.
It's just, no.
Wait. So Emily is adamant that you should always sit across from someone when you're with, it's just 2 people.
Let me ask you this. If you're in a booth and it's 2 of you and you're on a date, do you sit next to or across?
I would never sit next to them.
I always do.
That's so
You sit next to?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
we can agree at least on that one.
I will sit across for a certain time, and if I'm on a date, I'll be like, I'm coming over. You know, like bring my. You can't touch someone when they're
I don't
far
need
away.
to.
In a booth? In a booth, no.
But
Yeah,
at
the
a
booth.
table, I need to see, like, even this. I'm like, I need to see who I'm looking at. I don't like sitting next to people and talking to them.
But
I
if
need
it's
to
a
see
four
them.
top, you're like you are looking at them.
No.
No,
Oh, okay.
she wants to be across. So
Me
it's
too.
funny, every time we go out, and then you watch when they seat us where they put the menu.
Right.
She will
Everyone
pick up her
always-
menu and move it to the other side and sit down across from
Everyone.
me.
And do they say, "Oh, are you expecting someone else?"
No. Every time me and my boyfriend have gone out to dinner in a nice restaurant and they set down the plates, they always put it next to. And I look at him because he knows that I'm going to say, do not sit next to me.
Okay, so that actually would be good for our friends that are,
We want to know what they
Yes.
think. We're going to do a poll.
We should do
somehow.
a poll. I think at
I don't know
the
how we're going to do that. We're
Well-
going to have to
On
ask
YouTube?
Miss Technology. Yeah, on YouTube.
You can do it in the comments.
perfect. So we're
See,
gonna do
we
a
just
poll,
learned
friends.
something,
There we
too.
go.
Our
There we
little
go.
Gen X selves.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Butters. I appreciate you. This is so nice. And
Yes.
thank you. I know you love Kimmy. Kimmy's going to be at your wedding and your, bring your first baby gift and everything like that.
Oh,
she's like my
yay.
bestie. She doesn't have a daughter, so this is,
This is true. Although I have some beautiful
you do
daughters-in-laws.
have some
So
beautiful daughter-in-law. So thank you. Thank you for taking your time and sharing yourself with us. And
yes,
whoever
And-
listens to this.
Right.
And now we know we can do a poll on YouTube.
we can. And you know what? Here's to Gen X and to Gen Z.
And yes, we do love our Gen Zs.
Yeah, we love you guys.
Cheers. Thanks for watching.
Ciao.